Good morning and welcome to this week's episode of Coaches and Coffee, episode 14. Good morning, Professor. Good morning, Wizard.
Good morning.
Nothing from you, Professor?
I got back from a concert at 12 o'clock last night. I'm still fucking smoked.
That's right. You went to the Fish concert last night, didn't you?
It wasn't Fish, but it was rough.
All right.
But wait,
so
welcome the real person.
I'm gonna. So as we said last week on the podcast, we were going to start a new episode or a new segment of the episode this week where we got some coaches lined up to join us. And our first coach joining us, 3-time state champ, believe the only Class M state champ for Littleton as a player in 90, Coach Trevor Howard. Welcome.
Welcome.
Yeah, welcome aboard.
Everyone. How are you?
Well, it's a Saturday morning and it's about an hour after normally, so these guys probably got extra coffee in them. So.
Yeah. Not on the question list that we didn't receive until 2 o'clock this morning, but Trevor, do you drink coffee?
No, I've never had a cup.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
This is called Coaches in Coffee, and the reason I asked is because Mags drinks Keurig cups, and I guess he got somebody to sponsor him this week.
Yeah. Yeah, got some new cups, new K-cups this week. Thank you.
Did you buy those, or did somebody give them for you?
No, somebody gave them to my wife and at work because they listened to the podcast and brought them home.
Good old nice. Megan. Good old Megan.
Well done. Yeah. All right, so Wizard, throw it to you to start our monologue before we get into the questions with our guests.
Okay, well, we're going to step into the animal kingdom again. Just for all of you that don't know, hummingbirds will start their migration south from all over the northern hemisphere. And it would be nice if some of you lazy bastards would put out some sugared water for them, use a 4-to-1 mixture, and give those little bastards something to drink when they're headed south.
Wouldn't it be awesome if they headed south during the maple season and they could just drink out of the sap buckets?
Yeah, that'd be kind of oxymoron. I'm not an oxymoron. That'd be kind of reverse because they'd be heading into the winter in the southern hemisphere then, right?
So. My turn?
Yeah.
Or are we going to let Trevor
go? No,
I was going to do a not very serious one, but 17 years ago yesterday, one of my very favorite AAU parents passed away, and I just want to shout out to her. And that reminded me that around 23 years ago, one of my favorite basketball players to watch and coach against, even though she whooped my butt every time, Christine Perry, passed away. And what I can't believe is that was 23 years ago. I was sitting at a concert last night with my daughter, and we were talking about the last time we were up there to watch a concert. We're all like, oh, that was last year, and it was 3 years ago. So take a moment to just appreciate how fast time goes by and who you miss along the way. Well
said. So my brief comment is about this lawsuit with the NCAA and these graduates that have left, and if you're not following it, but basically there's like 30-something athletes that has a lawsuit to come back for a 5th year, and some of them are in training camps right now in the NFL. Some of them have signed a contract, and basically if they don't make the team, they want to be able to come back to college, which starts a week from today, games. I'm just not sure. I know there was an injunction put in place yesterday that's not going to allow them, but dang, what are we doing? That'd be like a kid on our team going to play as a freshman in college and they not make the team and they get to come back to high school and play a 5th year. So cut it out.
I'm pretty sure there's a coach down in southern New Hampshire that might think that there was a player that may or may not have had the name of the game with an S that probably never played for my team. So,
yeah, say who, right?
Yep.
Hey, Trevor, anything on your topic list you want to share?
No, I agree with the college thing. The NIL stuff has to. They got to put limits on that. To see Michigan win the championship, and all 5 kids came from the portal, none recruited from high school. I mean, I think that's what we're seeing is it's not fair for the high school seniors. They're not getting recruited because of the portal, and kids can transfer as many times as they like. I think they definitely got to do something there.
Yeah.
Hey,
Well,
wait, I'm going to ask a question to Trevor on that because that
Me
was one of
too.
our questions on the list. We adamantly rail against recruiting and all that kind of stuff on this podcast, and we're tired of the NIL. But uh, how do you feel about recruiting in high school sports? And would that be probably amongst your, other than officials, probably your least favorite thing that goes on?
Isn't recruiting illegal in high school?
Allegedly.
It is.
allegedly, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
No,
if you have an
it's not.
AAU team, it seems like you can pull players from there and bring them to your school. It's
Yeah,
happened in the past.
the academy stuff, who can recruit and us who can't. It's just not. It's not fair. You know, because I'm Concord Christian or Portsmouth Christian or Holy Family, I can recruit a kid and they can come there and it's fine. But if I do it in Littleton, it's illegal. So that's really
Yeah.
not fair.
Yeah.
Fair for anybody.
It's our equivalent of the NIL, essentially, and it's probably the thing most in coaching.
So,
Yeah.
so the other question I had was, we talked about NIL. I don't know what episode. I don't give a shit. But we were talking about it in the manner of, they basically just opened Pandora's box with no limitations. How, other than shutting it completely down and then restarting it with new rules, how do they fix what they've done already?
I think it's got to start with limiting how much money they're paying these kids. I mean, it went from nothing to now they're making millions. I mean, they could cap it at whatever, 500,000 kid or something. And then you can only transfer. That's my thing. So you go to Michigan, coach doesn't play me. Oh, I'm going to transfer to Tennessee. Oh, that coach doesn't play me. Oh, I'm going to transfer somewhere else. Eventually you got to look in the mirror. The reason you're not playing is probably your fault, not transferring from coach to coach. I'm sure kids in high school would love to transfer because, their parents think they're great, and when we don't play them, let them go somewhere else and see what they do. But at the college level, I think it's gotta start with the money. It went from the kids getting nothing to, how much is some of them making? $5 million?
Good Lord, there was one quarterback that was going to lose money coming out in the draft. I don't know if it was this year or last year.
Yeah.
So. And Caitlin Clark, pay cut, going to the WNBA. She had one more season if she wanted it.
Yep. Yeah. Nope. It definitely has a sour taste, and I agree. I don't think we're teaching those athletes anything. To Trevor's point of, you don't like what you get, let's just transfer. Like, we don't get to do that. Unlimited amounts of time. What kind of adversity or whatever we're teaching kids to deal with. We're not. We're just giving them an out. And as Trevor said, maybe at some point look in the mirror. It's not you. I mean, it's not them. It's you. So.
And back in the day, you had to sit out a full year if you transferred from Division One to Division One. You had to sit out a full year.
Yeah.
Kids don't want to sit out. So the only way you could play is if you transferred down. If you went from D1 down to D2, you could play. So now it's just a free for all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if kids had transferred from your program, Mags, to ours, they could have played because they would have moved down a couple of divisions.
So that's the other thing on this podcast, Trevor. They're going to treat us like we're Division II because they think we're this monstrosity. Nor do they realize now, like, we're middle of the pack in enrollment in Division IV, and one of the schools that these knuckleheads coached at's got 50 more kids now. So, anyways.
Okay. Can we move on to why we have Trevor on the podcast
we do have
so
Trevor,
that we can learn something?
Stop killing time and throwing yourself up on that cross.
Yep. All right. So let's. So Trev, just start off. How long you been coaching and what got you into coaching?
29 years. I think it started back in high school, my senior year. Howie Burgess came out of retirement of coaching to coach my senior class, and his first conversation with me was, you can't be a shooting guard. You're going to be our point guard next year if we're going to be successful. And I didn't want to do that. My first question to him was, can I still shoot? Because that's all I like to do. But I think when I went to point guard my senior year, we went undefeated, won it all. Then I walked on at St. A's and was a backup point guard there. And, point guards, I think, is the most important position on the court for most teams. You got to read defenses and call plays and know when to control the tempo and everything like that. So I got lucky enough to play for Coach Dixon at St. A's. He's one of the best in Division II of all time. And then when I came home to run Maplewood, I had no intentions of coaching. Rob Evans kept hounding me to come into practice. So he was the boys varsity coach at Littleton back in 95, 6 area, that time frame. And he got me to come in one practice, and then the rest is history. Once I went in, I was shocked. That team he had, they were very respectful. They listened to everything I said, and I thought it was going to be opposite. I'd just go in there and waste my time, and it was opposite. Good group of boys. So I helped Rob Evans for 2 years. The second year helping him, we made it to the finals, lost to Co-Brown, and then he got a teaching job down in Mass, and he called me up and wanted me to take the program over. I was way too young, and I decided to do it anyway, and been there ever since.
Yeah. Now, in your thought on how initially you came in that long ago and through the years, what's the biggest change, biggest hurdle that you've seen in your time coaching?
Back in the day, kids played. Nowadays, kids would rather play video games till midnight or 2 a.m. So, but, parents, yeah, here and there, parents are parents. What my experience with parents, I think, parents that have played and been successful as an athlete, they kind of leave the coaches alone. It's the parents that were non-athletes, but their kid's pretty good. So they're living vicariously through their kid. But I've been lucky. I haven't had many issues with parents. I think over time, it's just, to get a kid to really work on his game in the off season and to work on his game year round is kind of rare right now.
Do you have a recommendation for these kids playing today, what they should be doing in the off season?
It's tough up here. We play in a league and profile. It's just once a week. You almost got to do it on your own. You got to go to camps. You got to, the best players shoot and work on their game every day. And I think nowadays but I encourage all of my kids to play all 3 sports. So, it's a little up to them to improve and work on their game. Down south, I think there's the bigger advantage. They have a lot more opportunities for leagues and AAU. AAU is good if it's the right coaching, I believe. If it's just someone's parent, sometimes it's not good.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. So back to, Trevor's experience. We got almost 100 years of coaching on this podcast. Like, we're old, boys. Old.
Speak for yourself.
That's right. You're just a young one.
Wow.
So, Trevor, I've had the pleasure of taking way too many bus rides over the last, it seems like 20 years now. But what's your coaching philosophy or non-negotiable standards that you have with all of your teams?
I think my boys, I think they take pride in what we do. We don't ever quit. Kids that work hard. I think with boys, a lot of them like structure and discipline. They like being part of the team and, taking pride in what we do. And, my program's been lucky enough to be successful for a long time. So everywhere we go, every gym we go, we have a bullseye on our back, and we're going to get the other team's best, which is good. Love going to Groveton, Colebrook, and Woodsville, and White Mountains Profile, and the big rival games are fun. And I think the boys, see that, recognize it. And, I think in a lot of the successful programs, the kids work hard and they don't quit for 32 minutes. So, but a lot of kids, you can only control effort and attitude, and then you got to be coachable. That I think the three biggest factors for me is those three things. You can control your effort and attitude every day, and you got to take criticism and be coachable.
Yeah, over the years, sorry, I was just going to interject there real quick. Over the years, I wish I was a fly on the wall in some of Coach Howard's halftime speeches, because his teams come out in the second half and it's a complete opposite of how they played in the first half. And so I think we've joked on here sometimes too about, like, parents or fans will say, "What'd you say to him at halftime?" Well, some of it you can't repeat, but some of it's really simple. It's just like, do what you're capable of doing, and you're not doing that. So anyways, I think Trev's done an outstanding job of his teams adjusting and, getting the most out of kids. That's the reason why his program is so successful. Sorry, Wizard, go ahead.
Trevor, how has the information age via the internet affected scouting and those things for you?
Oh, it's a big disadvantage for Dale and I. I mean, we're on NSN probably more than anyone, and that's just free scouting reports for every Southern team. They don't have to drive up and see us. But nowadays, since COVID, we get access to a lot of other teams' games as well. But I still think you can watch the film, but I think it's definitely a lot better in person, scouting wise. But it's definitely changed. I mean, people ask. I don't run many plays. Dale knows that, and it's because of that. Why go run a play and have a team watch us on NSN, and then they know what we're doing in the next game. So I'm more of the philosophy of teaching my boys how to play basketball, and we run some sets, but we don't run any plays really, unless it's end of quarter, end of game situations. So,
Right.
Because of technology.
Yeah, I hear you.
Oh, we thought it was just because kids will forget what we wanted them to do.
Well, yeah.
Or they'll turn it over.
Yeah, I love calling a timeout and watching them not run the play and give the ball to the other team. I'm like, damn, I didn't need a timeout for that.
Yeah. Now, Trevor's had some of the best teams at taking care of the ball, over the years. So, yeah, but we've talked on the bus plenty of times, like, as a girls team, if we had, 10 turnovers in a game, we probably win by a lot. The boys, that's pushing the limit sometimes of too many turnovers.
And it's pretty funny in basketball. It's pretty simple. Make your bunnies, don't turn it over, and rebound. You win 90-something% of the games.
Oh, here we go again.
Yeah.
Now I got three of you who don't mention defense.
He said rebounding.
Okay. Yeah. Actually, that's the best form of defense, right? Like, if you don't clear a rebound, you can't play offense.
Yeah.
Trevor, we talk about this a lot, and I love that over the next couple of weeks we're going to hopefully have really great coaches on, because that's the idea behind this. We really should get somebody that's terrible on so that they can answer this question too. But we talk about winning, and then we talk about winning championships. And this isn't me trying to set you up, because I've coached a long time, and I think winning is easy. I think winning championships is really hard. Your program has been just unbelievably successful, and I don't want to know your win percentage unless you want to tell me it. But what do you think about winning and winning championships?
It's hard. You need the right team. You need luck. You need, the right call to go your way. but you got to look at it different perspectives too. Like this year, Mark Collins making the finals was an incredible job. Now, did we beat him pretty handily? Yes, but that team just getting there is a huge accomplishment. And, I've been to the finals, I don't know how many times, 10 or 11 or whatever, and won 3. But the 7 or 8 losses, I think once we were favored. The others, it was a tremendous job for those boys to get there. And then I've lost, I don't know, 3, 4, maybe 5 championships on one possession games.
Yeah,
So
it's crazy.
it's, 2 years ago, a total rebuild team. We make it to the finals. If Sam Reggie doesn't foul out, we got a good chance of beating Woodsville. We almost did without him in overtime there. And so it's very difficult, injuries. I mean, I don't want to hear other teams with injuries. I've probably had the most injuries of any program in a championship run or trying to win a championship, from Danny Kopkowski to Landon Lord to Marcus Hampson just barely. It's you need luck. You need calls to go your way. You need, you can't control some of your better players playing well under that type of pressure, and that's what parents don't understand.
It's hard.
It's hard. It's hard. And every loss, I blame myself, and the 3 wins are the boys.
Thank you for saying that. And either you've listened to our podcast or we all have that same philosophy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nope. Coaches lose the games and players win games, as we've said before. You can't win a championship if you're not there. And I've witnessed, some of Trevor's teams. Like, I've thought back and look at some of the teams that he got to a finals with, and it's like, okay, who else is going to do that with that group of kids? They probably didn't, they deserve to be there, but they weren't expected to be there. And yeah, he's had some of the toughest luck, from back when I first remember, Charlie Hepburn getting, or fouling out with like 7 minutes to go in a championship game on a bogus call in the backcourt, on a defensive rebound, and you lose the game.
Dale, who called those 2 fouls?
We haven't dropped officials' names, but
Oh, okay.
you want me to? I will. I don't care. You probably doesn't listen to the podcast. But yeah, I mean, those are the things. Like, and Trevor's right. Like, his injuries. I mean, and it's always been a starter for him, or like his 6th man. And it's not like, one of his players got injured. I think, was it the day before the next playoff game? So
Danny Kopkowski blew his knee out. Literally, we're going into quarter, into game plays, and practice was done in a minute, and he came to a jump stop with no one around him, and Danny Kopkowski was probably the best all-time player in Littleton's history, scoring leader, and he didn't play his whole senior year. Wow. So he was an all-time leading scorer at Littleton and never played his senior year because he blew his knee out right before the Cobra quarterfinal game. And that's the thing. We made it to the finals that year without him. I lose my first team All-State Player of the Year, and we make it to the finals, lose to Epping in the finals. But with Danny, we have a very good chance of winning it that year too. But and then this year we beat PCA in the semis, which was an incredible game. And I get 3 reporters around me, and they're asking me questions, and they get done asking me questions after 10 minutes, and I look at them. I said, "You guys aren't going to ask me anything else." And they just all looked at me. And I'm like, "Do you think we struggled running offense tonight because my senior captain all-state point guard blew his knee out a week ago? Like, we just beat PCA, who was really good without a point guard. And might be the reason why we struggled to run offense at times."
Yeah.
So, it's when that happened this year, I said, "Oh, here we go again. This is unbelievable." So to see that many kids go down in a playoff run is tough.
Yeah.
What do you got for us, Wizard?
But
Oh, yeah, go ahead, Wizard.
No, I was just thinking about I saw him, Trevor, pull one of the classiest moves as a coach, but the concern of a player during a playoff game. And he sat the player because he thought he was having heart issues. And I like I said, I thought that was of course, I'm sitting watching the game, and I don't know anything going on until Dale explained it to me after
Bleacher
the fact.
creature.
But yeah, well, I mean, I think I was watching it on NSN or whatever other.
that's the famous Red Bull game.
Yes, yeah, and I mean, even though I don't know if you knew at the time what had occurred, but you were concerned for your player, and he was very important to the team, and no, he was set, and he didn't play.
Yeah, that was yeah. I didn't know what was causing it until after the game when the player's mother told me.
Yeah.
He had done it in AAU, you know, pounded 3 Red Bulls before a game, and then during the game, his heart started racing. He started getting lightheaded, and he so I didn't know it was Red Bull until afterwards. But yeah, during the game, I think during that time frame, when did Reggie Lewis? When did that happen?
1996? No, 93, I believe. 93.
That was a while ago, but yeah. So, back then though, we were at Plymouth, which was very nice.
Yeah.
And their trainers, wouldn't really let him go back in until, they gave me the clearance there in the 4th, and he went in and wasn't himself, and that was another, tough loss in the finals to Grofton, I think, that year. So.
Yeah, we're sorry to keep bringing up all of these, but I know as coaches we remember our losses way more than we remember our wins sometimes.
Absolutely.
So thanks for sharing those with us.
So this leads to my last one, and because he mentioned it, what do you think of the setup that New Hampshire has for their playoff scenarios for all divisions as compared to Maine and, say, Vermont?
New Hampshire it's terrible. Something's got to be done. Dale is making a push we've gone from, back when we started coaching, quarterfinals was at Plymouth. We were at a college gym. All you got to do is get it to the quarters, and then they took that away from us. Then it was semis and finals. All right, got to get to the semis to get to Plymouth, and now it's just the finals. And to have Dale girls play at White Mountain Regional High School in the semifinals is a complete embarrassment for the state of New Hampshire. And myself, we've gone from Merrimack Valley to Bedford High School to Laconia High School to, it's a different semifinal venue. We went to Manchester Memorial this year. No offense to Manchester Memorial's gym, but it's 100 years old. I just can't believe New Hampshire can't get every division into college gyms for the semis and finals, minimum. I just can't believe. And you look at every state around us and they're doing it. Why can't we? And, I think we know the answer. It's all comes down to money.
Right.
Always.
Yep.
It's not the kids' experience. It's money.
Yeah.
Right. And let me just, while you're on this, let me go on to my tangent on Colby Sawyer. So I walk into the game, our championship game this year. Grofton's playing Newmarket girls. I walk in and I'm told I don't have a locker room. I says, well, you better get me a locker room. We're playing a championship game after this girls game. So 10 minutes later, after our boys are standing there with their backpacks on, they bring us through the pool area and they put us in a 10 by 10 little tiny room that's about 100 degrees, and the floor is all soaking wet from people coming in and out of the pool. So
It gets better.
so I tell them it's unacceptable. My boys take turns getting dressed. They come out barefoot so their sneakers don't get soaked. We go behind the curtain of where the game's being played, and I have my boys stretch out there. So then, I need a dry erase board. We're going over our game plan and getting ready for Groveton. So I forced my way into the Newmarket girls' locker room so I could use the dry erase board. So we go in there after the girls' game's over. So they're giving out the girls' championship stuff. And next thing you know, there's a knock on the door and a lady comes in and says, "You guys got to get out of here." And I said, give me a couple minutes. We're going over our pregame. And so I keep going. And less than a minute later, a lady comes back in and says, "You guys got to get out of here now. I got 10 girls out in the hallway crying." And I turned and looked at her and I'm like, "Are you serious? You didn't give us a locker room. I need 2 more minutes to finish our pregame." But it's a complete joke. So I had no locker room, nowhere to go for a state championship game. Then, there's no stats. There's no attention to detail, nothing. No offense to Colby Sawyer, but if you don't have 4 locker rooms or 4 places for teams to change and prep for a game, I don't understand how you're hosting a state championship.
Absolutely.
Yep, I couldn't agree more.
20 years ago at Plymouth, we'd go there at halftime. They would be handing out stats of every single game.
Right.
We don't, Dale, do we get that at Colby Sawyer?
Nothing. We're lucky if the PA person can announce the names correctly because they don't come and ask.
Against Profile in the finals, I had to correct the possession arrow 3 times in that game because the college kids was just sitting there. They don't care. It's something's got to be done. I've expressed that my opinion to the boys side of it. Dale's doing his side. And again, it's the experience of the kid. I think they care more about the financial part of it rather than the student athlete's experience.
I'm going to move on to a different subject. I know that I have no idea where we are on time because the technology for us doesn't work either, but
yeah, well,
a couple comments on what you said, Trevor. First of all, welcome to coaching at Woodsville because that's what our locker room's like every day. Wet floors, 10 by 10 cell, and a gym that's 227 years old. But I really appreciate the way that you deal with kids, and like as Cass had said about sitting a kid with what you're not sure about for an issue. I think about all these young coaches in the game today and having to deal with all the stuff that we've dealt with, as Mag said, over 100 years of experience. Being the best coach on this podcast today, Trevor, can you tell us what you recommend for a young coach? Like, what advice do you have? Because I think it's going to be really hard to start coaching this early now.
Yeah, you got to build a culture. You got to want them. I've never begged a kid to play basketball because it'll bite you in the butt at some point. You beg a kid to play, and then next thing you know, he's not as good as you think, and he's on the bench, but you begged him to play. So I've never begged. If a kid doesn't want to play, he doesn't want to play. Basketball is the longest season of any sport. It's a lot of work. For a younger coach to get into it, you got to build a culture. You got to have thick skin. And that's the one thing, and I think Dale has seen it because we're together all season. But, I'm the first probably, I probably pull the dogs off too soon in a lot of games, but I get my bench in there as fast as I can in a lot of games when we're up 15 or 20. And, if it's a blowout at halftime, I'm already thinking, what's my lineup going to be next year? Let me put them 5 in to start the second half or do stuff like that. I do swing 2 to 3 players every year. The best freshman and sophomore, they do JV and varsity. And then, that's the kind of, why we try to be good every single year. It's, And I've played against a lot of teams where we're up 30. I got the end of my bench in, and that other team still has their senior star in there scoring 30 points a game in garbage time. And that probably bothers me more than anything, because that's why your team isn't good. You got freshmen on the bench, should be playing. You're still playing your guy so he can get his points and so he can get his 1,000th point or whatever they're doing. And, there's a reason why some programs are good, and there's reasons why some programs are not good. And, I'm not a believer in leaving my best player in to score 50 in a game. That's never going to happen against, a not good team. So, it's tough. It's tough for a young kid. I think winning, parents really can't say much when you win. But as soon as you start losing, that's when all the stuff happens. If you look at programs that have troubles, it's, once you're losing, why isn't my kid playing? The kids you're playing must not be good because you're not winning. So, it's tough. It's tough. But, I think I'll keep doing it. I'll never get done because of lack of talent. I'll get done because of work, probably. But other than that, it's hard for a young kid to build a program. It's going to take time.
Good advice.
Yeah, and I think we hit on this a few times. Like you've got to have an administration. I mean, I think when Trevor and I have talked about, why our programs have been successful, why we've coached as long as we have, and we don't even bring it up anymore. Like, we've had really good administration above us that have supported us when we've had some challenging times. And I think that's, one of the challenges of a new coach today. Like, they've got to be given a chance to be successful. You can't change a culture. You can't put a system in 1 or 2 years. And usually speaking, the mediocrity of other schools, the one common thing is a revolving door at the coaching position. So,
Hey, Mag, Trevor, you don't know this segment, but this is usually how much can Mags kiss up to either the administration or the officials. Do you want to get an official in there too, Mags, or are you good?
shut up. Listen, I know you haven't always had the best administration like the other three of us on this podcast, so you're welcome. I got one more question that I think is just that we put on the list, and I would love to hear Trevor's response. Like, who's the toughest opposing coach and player, doesn't have to be the same team, that you've ever had to scheme against?
Player, boy, it's probably Josh Roby in the last 10, 15 years. Yeah, I mean, his senior year at Profile, we face guard denied him and doubled him and did whatever, and he scored 40-something on us. And senior night, I walked out of the gym and I turned to Charlie, my assistant. I'm like, what Roby have, 30, 34? And he turned and said, no, I think he had 49. I couldn't believe it. So player-wise, Josh was, but the reason Josh was good, he never stopped moving. He just kept working to get open, and the kid put the time in to be that good. Ryan Walker's tough to defend and scheme against, because when we played against Ryan, you can't press him. He can break it himself, and, you got to get the ball out of his hands to deny him, so he was hard to defend. Coaching wise Buddy, back in the day, you had to be ready to go up in Colebrook, and they would go full court. And if you dribbled with your head down up the sidelines, you were all done. He was more like havoc for 32 minutes. The more turnovers and sloppy, it was just, some of those games were pretty fun. Mark's back in the day of his patented press into his zones, you'd have to prepare for. And then, recently it's been Jamie with his, his man defense, forcing you left and doubling you, and Dale, you got to experience that this year, and so those are the ones that stick out. Kids here and there, the big Hazleton kid at White Mountains there his senior year, he finally decided to stay under the hoop, and I think he had 34 and 21 on us both games that we played him, because my biggest kid was maybe 6'1" and 150 pounds. So, but
yeah, sometimes you just can't get a rebound if you don't have height.
No, I remember at halftime of that game, I said, all right, our only chance is to steal it before they throw it into them. So that's all we did. And we went from down 20 to cut it to 5 or 6. We almost did it, but no, other than that, those are the 3 coaches that stick in my head of, trying to game plan against them. So.
Well, you walked right into the reason that we have you on, which is some listeners' comment. Chris, was it Chris Mags?
Which one? What's the
comment about the North Country and the?
Oh yes, Paca.
I mean, you just named those programs, and I think it's kind of the same in the girls too. It's just this devotion to great coaching and great playing, and it's those 4 schools all the time. So, thanks for answering the listeners' questions.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's the best way, as we talked about trying to answer Parker's question, was just bringing some coaches on and letting them hear a different perspective. But 3 Hall of Fame coaches there, or not all Hall of Fame yet, but will be, and Trevor deserves to be right there with them when the time comes. But one of the best games that I watched of Trevor's kids was in Colebrook in the quarterfinals, and I think I was standing as far back on the stage as I could because there was no seats, and thank God I'm 6'4", so I could see over a lot of people. But heck of a game up there, and
was that when Brammer drained a bunch of threes, Dale?
Yes, it was. Yes, you were the 8th seed, I believe.
Yeah.
We've struggled as a girls program. Everybody knows we go up there and usually get our butts kicked, and then we come down to our place and we got a little more space to work with, and it's just so tough to replicate. And the Wizards, patented full court, triple team the ball. Every time somebody got it was like, well, if you get beat, you only got to run 25 feet and you're back on defense. So.
The shoebox.
The shoebox is right.
Yeah.
D2, D4, man. It's hard.
D2, D4.
Yeah. Wait till you guys see our new gym floor.
Yeah. I can imagine gold plated.
New gym floor every 3 years. It's kind of hard to keep track.
Yeah, or 34 years, whatever comes first.
Hey, I don't want to hear it. We got a new gym floor after 173 years, and it still sucked.
Well, they clean. What all they did was clean the gravel off from it and refinish it.
Yeah, when you look across and the bleachers, I mean, you can still see that the floor rises and lowers across. Like they didn't do anything with the subfloor. You are correct.
Yeah, I love it when you put a ball down there and it rolls 9 feet and then goes up the other side and then comes back. You're like, okay, that's not a good floor, but congratulations for you guys for being able to come in there and actually play on that court.
Yeah.
Welcome back to Colby Sawyer of high schools, huh?
Yeah, one of the toughest gyms we've played in. The 2 that you guys coached in, for sure.
We're gonna let Trevor finish up with something before we move on to GOAT. You got any last comments for us,
I don't
Trevor?
have any more, Trev, but go ahead.
Me? What, you guys want me to finish
No,
up?
he's telling Ross.
Oh,
Are
sorry.
we gonna do GOAT or no? I want Trevor. You got anything else you want on coaching before we move on to the GOAT?
No, you guys have asked them all. I think, some of the better teams up here are the ones that are, all 5 kids can score, and in Division 4 you don't see that. Every every good coach, and I think younger coaches, you try to take away the other team's best players, and that's what we all try to do. But no, I appreciate you guys having me on, and I will enjoy listening to you guys every week.
Well, thank you for being one of our 4 listeners.
4? I thought it was still 3.
Yeah, well, we increased. Yeah, no, we appreciate you coming on, being the first coach. That was my pick. I told the boys that if we were going to start inviting coaches on, I'd want to invite somebody that's done it a long time and from the North Country, coached in the North Country, played in the North Country, works in the North Country. So yes, thank you for attending, and you know what the GOAT debate is about, but we'll throw it to Professor.
Well, I knew we were going to talk for a long time today about all the basketball stuff we commented on in the past. So I wanted to do something a little bit different. And I chose because the Wizard in the last couple of weeks has brought up a bunch of different references, and some of them have been musical. So I decided today our GOAT debate would be the greatest cover song of all time. And to allow us to go.
I know what yours is already.
I know you know what mine is, and I was worried you might pick it. And I think I know what yours could be, but we're going to figure this out.
I purposely didn't pick it because I knew that you would take it.
All right. Well, then I'm dying to see where this goes, but we're going to let Trevor lead this one off.
Greatest cover song?
Yeah, greatest cover song. Did he not tell you?
It's not true. Maybe it was midnight last night, but
son of a bitch.
Cover song.
We're going to let you think about that.
Yeah, we can come back to Trevor. That's not fair.
The technology and Mags don't have anything here in common. I could have texted you that, Trevor, a week ago, but
I Will Survive. How's that?
By Cake?
Yes.
Oh, what a good pick.
Good, see? Look at that.
That's so funny. I asked my wife that, and she's like, that is the worst cover of all time. But I love that cover. What do you got, Mags?
Oh, I'm going with Knocking on Heaven's Door.
GNR?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was originally, as we joke on here about our intro music, Bob Dylan, but, No,
I meant the cover.
Yes. But I'm just saying, Guns N' Roses.
Yeah, since my daughter's named Dylan, I'm pretty sure I knew the original.
Yeah. Oh, thanks. Anyways.
You go first. You go.
Well, we're going to stay right in that same vein of Bob Dylan, but we're going to go with Jimi Hendrix's All Along the Watchtower.
All Along the Watchtower.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And are you going Johnny Cash here, or what are you doing here, Wizard?
Yes, I am.
Hurt?
Johnny Cash, Hurt.
Yep.
Again, listeners don't realize how old you two are, so,
Hurt isn't that old. Hurt was after you, Mags.
Trent Reznor wrote the song.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, 9 Inch Nails wasn't 1953.
Right.
Oh, goodness. All right, well, does that conclude? Wizard, you got our normal words of wisdom?
I do not have any sort of thing to add to. All I got is bear season is about 10 days away. So let it begin.
And Trevor, thanks for coming on. Appreciate it.
Yes, very much so, Trevor. It's great.
Yeah. All right. Closing out this week's episode of Coaches and